A typical Democrat moving to an all-white neighborhood, then bitching about racism. Hey, lady, there's a reason you live in that all-white neighborhood. You picked the safest place for you and your family. Now you're ragging on the cops. If you want to relocate to the south side of Chicago, it's a buyer's market. Sadly there, your son will train by...
Greg Gutfeld and Tyrus paired up to take on none other than Sunny Hostin. They tore into her on several different points, and every time she tried to push back, they came back with even stronger arguments. And what happened next shocked everyone. Buckle up and get ready for a full breakdown.
People have to wonder, where does Sunny Hostin get her opinions?
Yeah.
Like you said, and it's obviously from her husband. She has to tell her what to say on The View, because without it, she's got nothing up there. She's not very bright. But the problem with her is that she went full racist. She injected skin color into a fairly generic behavior seen in all spouses, regardless of skin color. People marry, they listen to each other, they have something in common with them, they share their political views.
Now let me tell you something. What makes this clash hit so hard is not the volume. It is the reversal. Gutfeld does not treat Sunny like she is untouchable. He treats her like a performer whose act has finally run into a wall. To him, her commentary is not deep, not noble, not brave. It is rehearsed, ideological, built on the same race-first lens she accuses everyone else of weaponizing. He is not just calling her wrong, he is calling her predictable. And on television, predictable is the kiss of death.
Today's video comes to us from Sunny Hostin. Sounds like a town. We're in Sunny Hostin. She was on PBS's Finding Your Roots, a show dedicated to researching celebrity ancestry. For context, Sunny is a staunch supporter of reparations and has made a fortune spewing nonsense about white privilege and racial justice. Well, turns out she's not as oppressed as she claims she is. She's actually the descendant of slave owners from Europe.
Here's where the story stops being mockery and turns into something far more damaging. Gutfeld's sharper point is not that the revelation is embarrassing. It is that Sunny never does the one thing a serious commentator is supposed to do when the facts hit her own doorstep. She never lets it change the conversation. Mark my words, that is the blade. If you lecture the country every single day, then go silent the moment the same logic boomerangs back at you, people stop seeing conviction. They start seeing performance. And once the audience smells performance, the credibility crisis begins.
One thing, and I would have even actually not give her any is she said, well, I guess that's just what they did back then.
Yeah.
She should have followed that up with saying something along the lines of, and I understand that that's a departure from the way I've talked about this before. That was to me, the one thing that was missing.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's okay, now that you have this information, have you had any personal growth? Do you think about things differently? You have to acknowledge that.
Yeah.
Because when you're presented with new information, it's okay to change your mind. It's good to change your mind, but you should acknowledge that has...
Now enter Tyrus. Listen carefully. This is where the segment turns mean in a way only Tyrus can pull off. Gutfeld attacks the posture. Tyrus attacks the believability. He locks in on one of Sunny's public stories and treats it like a collapsing prop. He mocks the setup, undercuts the context, makes the entire thing sound less like testimony and more like theater. Tyrus is not saying she is dramatic, he is saying the drama is the product, the drama is the brand, the drama is the whole show.
Don't get scared because Tyrus is black.
Yeah. I don't think you guys even need me on this one. I think Kat brought up the greatest point, which is to draw attention and go please do. It reminds me of that time I told you I wasn't secretly gay. There was no reason to bring that up. I feel also, not to be all technical, but she does not live in an all-white neighborhood.
Right.
Then Tyrus tightens the screw. Tyrus. He stops circling. He drops the blunt line that turns this entire exchange into a credibility trial. To Tyrus, the anecdote is not misunderstood, not exaggerated, it is a hoax. And he flat out says, she lies. That is not a soft jab, that is a wrecking ball. That is the moment the temperature spikes, because now the criticism is not about tone, it is about trust.
Also, when you train for the Junior Olympics, don't you run on a track?
Do you know what? I gotta tell you, this story should have been the lead. Yeah. I'm thinking about it, all the things that we're talking about. It has everything. It's like a freaking hoax. It's a cheat.
And here is the bigger picture. This is not just a Fox versus The View food fight. This is a pattern. Sunny keeps walking into rooms expecting her framing to be treated like scripture, and she keeps running into people who refuse to bow. Bill Maher did it. What made Maher's rebuttal so devastating is that he did not waste a single second flattering her before disagreeing. He swatted the premise aside and kept walking.
Don't tell me that the left hasn't changed. I mean, I'm old enough to remember when it was the conservatives who hated the Jews.
Yeah.
Okay. That was a joke. But,
Too dark, too dark.
But if I had any doubt that I was right about the change that's happened in the left, watching people protest for...
Let me put it to you straight. Sunny tries to lock the word woke inside its original moral packaging, the noble version, the version nobody is allowed to question. Maher refuses the trap. To him, the meaning has shifted, the politics have shifted, and pretending otherwise is self-deception. He is not yelling at her, he is doing something worse. He is treating her objection like a stale argument the rest of the room outgrew years ago.
No, I didn't say ruining everything. I said that's why Trump could get reelected.
That's why Trump could get reelected.
Yeah.
So the term woke has been, in my view, co-opted by the right and weaponized and bastardized. And so I was surprised to hear you use the term because historically, as you know, because I think you're quite brilliant, that woke is a word used by the Black community to note that we must be aware of social injustices.
But words
and so
migrate.
why is that a bad thing?
It's not a bad thing, and originally that was absolutely a great thing. Alert to injustice. Who's not for that?
When Maher keeps pressing, the subtext becomes impossible to miss. Stop using yesterday's slogan to defend today's excess. How do you keep claiming the moral high ground when the ground itself has moved? That is why Sunny's posture looks weaker every single time somebody calmly refuses her framing. The authority collapses because the spell collapses. And once the spell breaks, it does not come back.
Use any term you want.
Okay.
Because maybe that is a word that's triggering, and so let's not use that word. I don't know, want to call it the super far left, but don't tell me the left
Or maybe the super far right.
Well, he's talking about the left. Well, then
Okay,
not woke.
but we talked about that. I mean, I think we agree about the danger of the super far right, and I can't say it enough. I think they're the bigger threat. But don't tell me that the left hasn't changed. I mean, I'm old enough to remember when it was the conservatives who hated the Jews.
Yeah.
Okay. That was a joke. But,
Too dark, too dark.
Well, maybe it is, but it's true. I mean, if I had any doubt that I was right.
Now hear me out. Coleman Hughes hits her from a completely different angle, but the damage is just as real. When Sunny suggests he is being used or co-opted, Hughes does not flinch. He does something far more dangerous. He exposes the move itself. He calls it an ad hominem. He refuses to let the debate turn into a loyalty test. In that moment, Sunny's attack stops looking like moral scrutiny. It starts looking like a panic button, the button you slam when the substance is slipping through your fingers.
You've said that you're a conservative.
No, I don't think I've been co-opted by anyone. I've only voted twice, both for Democrats. Although I'm an independent, I would vote for a Republican, probably a non-Trump Republican if they were compelling. I don't think there's any evidence I've been co-opted by anyone, and I think that's an ad hominem tactic people use to not address really the important conversations we're having here. And I think it's better, and it would be better for everyone if we stuck to the topics rather than make it about me.
Then Hughes drives the dagger deeper. He calmly answers the argument, lays out a class-based approach, cites Martin Luther King Jr., makes the entire exchange feel lopsided in real time. When stronger guests stay composed, her moral certainty suddenly looks like overreach. Her conviction suddenly looks like volume, and the audience always notices.
At the socioeconomics, you see the huge disparity between white households and black households. So your argument that race has no place in that equation is really fundamentally flawed.
The question is, how do you address that in the way that actually targets poverty the best?
Great.
And what Martin Luther King wrote in his book, Why We Can't Wait, is he called it, we need a Bill of Rights for the disadvantaged. And he said, yes, we should address racial inequality. Yes, we should address the legacy of slavery. But the way to do that is on the basis of class. And that will disproportionately target blacks and Hispanics because they're disproportionately poor, but it will be doing so in a way that also...
Stephen A. Smith brings yet another version of the same story. Sunny presses. Stephen A. does not retreat. He doubles down with the kind of confidence that says he is perfectly fine being called loud, wrong, or confrontational because he would rather take the hit than surrender the point. She thrives when the room accepts her premise. She struggles when somebody answers force with more force.
Recently accused Senator Mark Kelly, a veteran, an astronaut, of crossing the line for participating in a video reminding troops that they can refuse to follow illegal orders. Let's see some of what you said, my friend.
Sure. You know better, Senator Kelly. You know better. How dare you do that? You could go to the House. You can put up drawer up paperwork. You can try to start articles of impeachment if you think there's something illegal. I mean, damn, it ain't like y'all haven't done it before. You impeached the man twice. Where'd that get you? Got his behind back in the White House. Had you left him alone since 2020.
But I will tell you exactly what is happening here. The most brutal moment in this entire arc may not be a shouting match at all. It may be the legal note moment, because nothing kills the illusion of on-air authority faster than being stopped cold and forced to read a disclaimer on your own set. No sermon, no spin, just a silent reminder that words have consequences, that the same screen that built her can turn on her.
I do have a legal note. Thank you, Whoopi. Matt Gaetz has long denied all allegations, calling the claims, quote, invented, and saying in a statement to ABC News that this false smear following a 3-year criminal investigation should be viewed with great skepticism. That DOJ investigation was closed with...
So when people say Gutfeld and Tyrus destroyed Sunny Hostin, they are reacting to the full pattern. Gutfeld mocks the pose. Tyrus attacks the believability. Maher rejects the framing. Hughes refuses the smear. Stephen A. refuses to fold. The woman who built a brand on judging everyone else keeps getting caught looking weakest when the judgment swings back at her. And that is the real reason this narrative refuses to die. It is not just clash, it is collapse. Sunny walks in with certainty, with posture, with the expectation that her framing will run the room. But when the room pushes back, hard, calmly, mercilessly, that certainty starts looking brittle. The judge becomes the headline. The scold becomes the spectacle. The untouchable voice of the table becomes the one person in the room who cannot handle being answered back. So now I want to hear from you. Has Sunny Hostin lost the credibility she once commanded? Was this a fair takedown, or did Gutfeld and Tyrus cross the line? Drop your answer in the comments. One line, be honest. If this breakdown hit the way it should, smash that like button. Also subscribe for more no-fluff takedowns.